Sure. So we help investors buy rental properties, and then we manage that property for them.
And how can we find a good property?
Well, it depends on the investor and their goal. So 50 to 60% of all of our clients live out of country. So we have a lot of investors from all over the world that are buying investment properties. They want to buy in Houston or Dallas or Fort Worth. They want to buy in Texas. And so we help them with buying depending on what their goal is and what their price point is, and just help them understand that they can buy investment properties and have passive income without them having to do a lot of work.
Thank you. And how about the return rate now in Houston for the rental?
But what, I'm sorry?
The return rate, the investors.
Yeah, so the returns are very high, but again, it depends on what area. Certain areas of Houston are higher than others, and depends on what they're looking for. Some people want appreciation. Some people are focused on cash flow. Some people are focused on debt reduction. So it really depends on what the investor is looking for and what the goal is of them. So if they're looking to hold it for 30 years, that may be a different goal than somebody who wants to own something for 5 years and what their goal is.
Thank you. Do you have any suggestions for these investors?
Yeah, my initial suggestion would be to make sure you understand why you're buying the property. So don't just buy a deal to buy a deal. Buy a deal to make sure that it matches your goals. And then create the strategy and make sure that you do your homework on the deal before you buy it. So a lot of people just buy a deal because they think it's a deal, and then maybe they don't get the right return out of it because they didn't do their homework. So I think if you do your homework and you understand what you're looking for, that will help a lot more than just buying a deal and then it not coming to fruition for what they thought it would be.
There's a saying that although we hire agents, expertise, but they need to earn their agent fee. They want their service fee. So sometimes they're not really considering about the investors' benefits.
Yeah.
What do you think the investors should do?
Well, I think it's important. The investor needs to realize that the investor needs to take everything into account. Number one, they need to take into account what's their time worth. So can they run around and do these things, or is it better to hire someone? But even if you hire someone, you got to make sure that you understand that they are a derivative of you. You are the owner of the company, and they are working for you as leverage. But you got to make sure you don't just let them go. You need to checks and balances. So they trust but verify. So I think it's worthwhile when you hire a realtor or you hire a property management company, but you have to do your homework on them. So you got to make sure that you are tracking what they're doing, because if you get up into a lawsuit because you don't know what you're doing, it could be a lot more expensive than hiring a professional company. But you could hire a professional company, not do your homework, and they could be the wrong company because they don't match your goals. So there's a lot of different things to understand when you buy a rental property, that buying the rental property, anybody can buy a good deal. I know a lot of people that have bought very, very good deals and they've gone bankrupt because they don't know how to run the property for the next 20 years to get the return out of it. They just buy a good deal and they think it happens on its own. So owning a rental property is a business. You got to have policies, procedures, and structure, and that is what gets you to the goal and the return. So a lot of people, they focus on the front end, but they don't focus on what happens after you buy it for the next 20 years. And that actually, to me, is the most important part.
Yeah, what kind of suggestion you have for the next 10 years?
Well, I think it's a matter of making sure that the numbers make sense, because investing in real estate is numbers. It's not emotional. So when you're looking at a property, you've got to make sure that the numbers are doing what you want them to do. And if they're not, it may not be a good deal for you based on your goals. So again, it goes back to making sure that when you buy a rental property, that you're buying it based on the goal, not based on the fact that it's a property in front of you and you think it's a good deal. So you've got to be very diligent with your numbers, and you have to make sure that if the numbers are not working, you either change it or you exit the deal, meaning maybe you sell the property.
Thank you very much. Anything else you would like to share with us?
No, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.